opportunities, and empowerment. Ladies and gentlemen, President Larry Iver.
Hey, welcome to the Wake Up Show, Chicago. My name is Larry Ivory, and I am the president and CEO of the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. And I'm excited again to bring you another incredible show with incredible topic. But I'm also excited to bring you my co-host, my partner in crime, none other than the incredible Ladonna Ray.
Hey, hey. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Wake Up Show, Chicago. Make sure you tune in on YouTube, Facebook, and everywhere else we are streaming. And most importantly, make sure that you become a member of the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, who we are powered by, and we are sponsored by the Wind Creek Chicago Southland out in Homewood, where I spent my birthday. Great dinner, great spa treatments. It is amazing. Also, I want to go ahead and mention to you, you can give us a call at 773-591-1690. You can light the phones up at any given time during this hour of power with the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce on the Wake Up Show Chicago. And to my left, I want to introduce our guest co-host, and that is the actor, director, writer, producer. Let's see. I borrowed some money from you a few times, lender. Uh, and our
Certified
correspondent,
human rights consultant.
certified human
Yes.
rights consultant, Mr. Lorenzo T. Hughes.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Wake Up Show.
All right, Larry.
Hey, Lorenzo, you got a word for us, man. You know, we decided that we're going to have a little bit of history every radio show, and you're going to be the purveyor of this information. So, what you got for us, Lorenzo?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we're gonna do our little known Black history fact, and I always want to start out by saying, never before in the pages of history, the history of the world, has another nationality of people been so overwhelmingly consumed by the ways and the customs of another culture of people. So much so that we're willing to die for and fight for, and have done so in the past for that culture of people. Which brings to mind this little known Black history fact. October 1950, the 2nd Infantry of the 1st Black Ranger Infantry Unit was formed in Fort Bennington, and consistent of and it consisted of black elite officers and enlisted men that were deployed in Korea in December. They led assaults, raids, and held impossible positions, making the shocking force of the American military. Now, March 23rd, 1951, they led what was called Operation Tomahawk. They conducted the first airborne combat assault in Ranger history, according to the American Army records. Uh, this was performed with them parachuting in a place called Munsani. And May of 1951, they were ordered to take Hill 581 in Munsani, taking on the Chinese, facing fierce counterattacks and successfully making their way to the top. Now, with that said, there was 9 silver stars, 11 bronze stars, and roughly 103rd Purple Hearts issued. This band in August of 1951. Units that they were attached to got presidential unit citations. Now, the Buffalo Rangers, yep, they got nothing. They got nothing at all. Their accomplishments were credited to white officers. This is something that we see on a regular basis. And, with that little known Black history fact, Black people Black people's past is painful. The present is precarious, and their future is free. And we fail to forget that we created the future for the America that you see today, that you live in today. The people that many of you have fought for, fought side by side with, have died for, they today are continuing to bury our history and our accomplishments. And this is something that we definitely have to start recognizing, that as a culture of people, we are fighters, we are creators. We set the trends for a lot of what we see today. We have paved the way for blues, all types of music, athletics, and moving forward. again, we have to start developing ourselves as a nation of people so that we can start building our own uh, uh, our own future and allies, across the world.
Hey,
That's our
Lorenzo,
little known Black history fact.
Lorenzo, let me just say this, man, because I love what you just said. So you said there was a black battalion, Rangers, who had all these awards, and then when it came to getting the awards, they disbanded the group, and they gave it to the white organization, the white groups that they belonged to. So they got no credit, even though they won all the Purple Hearts and everything else. Is that what you're telling me, man?
Yes, sir. That's what I'm saying. And
We're,
like I said, but when we look, and this is, I know that that's part of our history, but it's also a part of our present, and we got to stop it from becoming a part of our future.
yeah. Well, we're going to continue on because Donna Ray is going to introduce our next guest who's on the line, who's going to continue on this history conversation. Because I think one of the great tragedies of our people have been that we don't know our own history and all our great accomplishments. And those things that we did do, they simply whitewashed it and never gave us credit. And it was a significant amount of things. And it's way before slavery, because most of us get introduced to Black history at slavery. So we have a gentleman that's going to be coming on. LaDonna's going to introduce real quick. And we're going to talk a little bit about history, and he's going to give us a little bit of his background. And then we're going to dovetail right into the Mother Africa conversation with Robert Johnson and with Dr. Robert Balfour from Georgia Tech.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Well, Larry, I wish that I had thought about those moments in history long before now with you, because our listening audience constantly listens to this show so that they can walk away with some really good things. But up next, we've got Mr. Dominic Clayton, who is an award winning educator born in Orlando, Florida, where I heard it is cold. Believe that. He graduated from John Carroll University with a bachelor's degree in business administration with a major in my favorite, marketing. That's right. He also was an all conference athlete in both football, but did not play for the Bears. I threw that in, and track while at JCU. After trying his hand at arena football, Dominic began his career in education as his high school alma mater, or should I say, at his high school alma mater, Mount Dora High School, as a special education math teacher, which is very dear to me. I made this all about me, even though I was introducing our dear guest that's up next, Dominic G, or should I say Clayton. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for that. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for everything that's in this bio, because as I read through it, it looks like you have made you're a waymaker. So I want to thank you just personally, because I have a special ed son. So thank you.
I love that. I love that.
So Dominique, tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about what you're doing.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm an educational consultant, author, and actor, and my contribution to this world is just helping people become the best versions of themselves. I believe in growth. I believe in we create our own destiny through our thoughts, and that's why I'm so aligned with Dr. Walter Milton Jr. with Black History Education 365, because that's what we do. We empower our students. We empower our educators to teach the students, because without that proper empowerment, how do we expect them to teach and lead students? So that's what I'm doing in this world, and just making my difference.
So Dominique, let me ask this quick question. How important, from your perspective, as we talk about the great hoodwinking that's happened to Black people when it comes to our history, give us some perspective from your point of view as to how relevant Black history is before slavery, and give us some insight or some nuggets in terms of your perspective on that.
Yeah, here we go. So, well, one of the greatest disservices we do to students, especially our Black students, is teaching them that their history begins in slavery instead of humanity, brilliance, and contribution. Because when a child's first introduction to their people is bondage, the unspoken message is you entered history as less than human. And that idea, being less than, is exactly what my book, Unhuman, confronts. It explores how systems survive by first stripping people of their humanity. And one of the most effective tools to do that, unfortunately, is education. But history, which we teach, is not just about the past. It shapes identity, it shapes worth, it shapes what students believe they can become. And that's why Black History 365 intentionally begins in ancient Africa, not in 1619. Because before enslavement, before colonization, students learn about thriving civilization, vast resources, advanced science, and global influence. They learn about the Kingdom of Kush, which advanced iron production and had powerful women leaders. They learn about the Mali Empire, which is the home of the universities, libraries, scholars, global trade, and Mansa Musa, of course, Songhai, Axum, Ethiopia, so on and so forth. They learn about our greatness first. And then when students learn this truth, something powerful happens. They stop seeing themselves as people who entered history broken and start seeing themselves as descendants of builders, thinkers, innovators. Their confidence increases, engagement increases inside the classroom, and instead of asking, what's wrong with us? They begin that mindset shift, and they start asking, well, what happened to us? See, when that history is not taught, silence fills the gap. Students internalize absence and no agency, no brilliance, no humanity before slavery. And that absence is definitely not accidental, as we've seen. It's the same process Unhuman talks about. We dehumanize the past and you limit the future. So this conversation we're having today is not about guilt, not about blame. It's about truth, because truth is how we rehumanize. Because you can't build a whole student on half a history. Right. Like, slavery was a chapter, but it's definitely not the opening line.
And Mr. Clayton, I got a quick question, to kind of.
Yes, sir.
So in education, and I hear that's where you're proficient in education and marketing. So in education, I always say that teaching is repeating until learning takes place. And I believe that's what makes marketing so powerful. So when you bring the two together, when we talk about education and we talk about marketing, how would you say our education system is affecting our children when we have kids who come out of school who are not able to regurgitate our history? They're Many of them aren't able to read on grade level. I guess what I'm trying to say is, what do we need to do to override this that what's happening right now with our Black youth that are coming out of school not able to read, not knowing their history? Are we not repeating it enough? Are we not marketing what it is they need to learn enough? How often do we need to repeat this?
Well, the system is working exactly how the system was designed to work. First off, the public educational system was created to create an employee force, right?
Right.
So that's non-thinkers, right? And the shift has occurred. The shift occurred about 20, 30 years ago to where now we want critical thought, right? So now the focus now has to be, how do we teach students to analyze different points of view? How do we teach students to look for themselves and do that research? How do we make sure that our school systems and our school districts have the proper resources that aren't biased? Because if you look at textbooks, I just did some content recently where a gentleman was reading out of a textbook out of Mississippi where it talked about Emmett Till it described him as a Black man. That's inaccurate truth.
Say that.
False. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So we have things just in the state I live in. Last year, I live in Texas. Texas tried to, fortunately, it was voted down, but they wanted to take slavery out of all textbooks and change it to involuntary relocation.
Voluntary relocation. That can, now, can I just jump in? That can be any kid. That can be any child, because when mom and dad decide to move and that child doesn't want to leave their school, isn't that involuntary relocation? I'm sorry, maybe
Right.
I went too far with it. Please continue.
You didn't.
This is ridiculous.
You didn't. But the marketing is, well, you see it that schools are failing, this, that, and the other. That's not what's really happening. BH365, we're in over 500 school districts, but there's roughly 14,000 in America.
So how do we
taking our step? We're eating the elephant one bite at a time. But this show, you guys are helping us get it out there. I know we are in Peoria for sure, We need to get in Chicago and everywhere. But our curriculum is truth centric. We tell the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, all of that, and we expose students to the truth. Because if you don't, when anybody go to therapy, I know I do. When you go to therapy, what's the first thing you have to do? You have to admit the truth. You have to tell what happened. So until we do that, we won't start healing.
Yeah, I was gonna say get on the couch, but go ahead.
I need to be on the couch, I think, a little bit.
So Dominic, moving forward, what do we need to start implementing and putting in place for our children? Do we have to have? I get it. The system is going to be the system, but how do we develop our own system to combat this? Because I know when my children were kids, when they were in school, we were trying to teaching them the history and things where to the point so that we had to have meetings with teachers because our kids were challenging what the teachers were saying.
Right, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah, and how do we get it to where our youth are challenging what they're learning in school? They're pushing the system to be honest and true.
Well, the first thing we have to do is empower ourselves. Because if I mention a few things to you guys, like if I say the Bacon Rebellion, what is your response to that?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
No.
People don't know because of the Bacon Rebellion. That's where the white race was created. After that, they're like, we're not going to let the poor join and unite again and ever do kind of us like that. So it was a divide and conquer strategy that started in 1677.
Let me just make sure that our listeners know what you just said. You said bacon, like bacon and eggs?
Yes, ma'am. BACON, the Bacon Rebellion in Virginia, 1676.
Thank you.
And that's after that rebellion when the diverse working class rose up against the elites because of poor taxation, because of manipulation, because of lies. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
They rose up and they were about to win until the leader Bacon passed away due to an illness, and they were like, we have to change this. We're gonna call the poor folks that look like us poor whites and give them different privileges and give them different punishments. They don't get punished as hard as those that are not white.
I'm about to fall out my chair. Yeah, I'm about to fall out my chair.
So history is definitely repeating itself on purpose because we don't teach that. And then if I say the name James Armistead Lafayette, do you know who that is?
Right.
Yes. Hamilton.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Because most people don't. And that's the enslaved black man, which is the reason why we won the American Revolution and defeated the British. Without him, America probably wouldn't exist.
Ooh.
Yet we used eugenics to say that we're inferior. Yeah, so we have to arm ourselves and empower ourselves with that knowledge first, because how are you going to teach a student what you don't know?
Yeah. And man, I'm loving this conversation, but I know we got a couple other guests. I want you to stay on. But one of the things I do want to make sure is that we're going to put on our website, on the Chamber's website, how to go and buy your books. Give us how you can get your book, because you guys sent me the books, and LaDonna and Lorenzo. When you take a look at the quality of the books and the things that were sent to me, I think I got 30 books. And it's absolutely incredible. It takes you back to Africa. It gives you a lesson plan. I mean, it's like a must read for all kids, because I believe if we had a sense of who we are, we would have less black people in prison and things would be much better. So we have to make sure this is a part of our overall game plan.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. BH365.org. BH like Black History, BH365.org. And that's where you can grab the book. That's where we start in kindergarten. We have kindergarten versions. And like our kindergarten books, I don't know if you have them, like our ABCs, they don't start like A is for apple. It's A is for architect. Things like that. We empower our students and they get to see themselves in the curriculum. But we go from kindergarten all the way up through high school. And some colleges use our high school textbook. And then we have our Latin history 365 as well, because we're all connected. And coming soon, we have Caribbean history coming out and women's history. So.
But the last thing I want to say to you is that since LaDonna Ray is my partner in crime, tell Dr. Milton that I need him to send her some of those books.
I got you.
Make sure
I got you.
You got it. Okay, Ladonna, we got some books coming,
Man,
and you're gonna love it. You're gonna absolutely love these books.
absolutely, especially since I'm trying to continue to show my young boys. I'm a mother of four. Two are adults already, but they can learn some more to teach other children. But then I have the other two at home so that they can learn as they go into manhood. Because we're in man school right now. My boys are.
All right.
I'm not. Yeah. So I
All right.
appreciate
All
that.
right.
We have a caller. I'm not sure if it's relevant to this particular topic, Larry. How do you want me to proceed?
Why don't you take the call real quick, and then after that call, let's go into our next guest. So we're gonna pivot into why Africa, and that's
Absolutely.
gonna be an exciting conversation.
Let me go ahead and grab them. Art, you're live. Wait, you're not live yet. Art, you're live on.
Hey,
Yeah.
good morning, young people.
Hey, hey.
This is to the conversation. When we're talking about, for me, I like Lorenzo. I like the solution based. We shouldn't be expecting any institution to teach our children about our history.
That's right.
Parents and those in the communities, leaders, preachers, potentators, that's what we should develop our own curriculum of books to teach our own children. But today, there is no excuse why any child cannot read because you have an iPhone. All phones now are so advanced. Anything you want to know or learn, you can learn how to read. So I think it's a lack of, we don't put forth a true effort in rebuilding and re-strengthening the Black family. So when the brother asks that question, that's the problem. That is not I say that we should focus 90% of our time on how we can rebuild and re-strengthen the Black family. I leave with that and what now? Focus on the Black family.
Love it. Thank you, Art.
Thank you, Art.
All right, we're ready to get our next guest online. Larry, I would love for you to do that introduction so everybody knows who we are talking to.
I will. It's my pleasure. Hey, it's my pleasure to introduce a iconic figure. He was one of the youngest professors at Bradley University. He's gone on, and he's in Atlanta, Georgia. I think at Georgia Tech. He was a guy who took to Africa, and this was back in 1985, I think, Dr. Balfour. So, Dr. Balfour, come on and tell us a little about yourself. And then we also have attorney extraordinaire Robert Johnson. We're going to talk about why Africa from an economic perspective in terms of what we see happening in Africa. So, Robert, Dr. Balfour.
All right. Thank you, Larry. Well, good morning, my family. My name is Robert Balfour, and Larry and I met back in 1997 in Peoria when I moved to Peoria as a young professor at Bradley University. Larry keeps saying Georgia Tech. I went to Georgia Tech. That is where I got my PhD, but I currently teach at the University of Georgia, UGA, here in Georgia. So, way back in 98, I remember very well, and that I joined the Phoenix, I think we used to call it Phoenix Black Chamber of Commerce, I think. And I gave a small talk to the group, and that thing has been with me till today, the response I got. My talk was very simple. I said, the reason why Black people in general are not getting the kind of respect we have is purely based on economics. Many years ago, people didn't see Japan, didn't see China, but now when you see an average Chinese, a Japanese, a Korean, they have a wealth of respect because, they have a strong economic base. And so my proposal to the group was, let's find a way to brighten some areas of the African American community up. And if that is not working because of politics here in the U.S., what about Africa? And I know we are talking about Black history, and most of us, I think the history we know is based on what we read. And so most people believe that when you go to Africa, people will reject you. And I tell Larry all the time, when I take an African American to Ghana, they give the African Americans better response than me. And I'm a Ghanaian. And that is how the culture is. So Africans are willing to work with African Americans. But when I made this comment, I think somebody said, we have so many problems already, which is true. And the problem is still today, and the solution that I proposed is still good today. And the reason why I think Africa is key, of course, we have all the numbers about the population, the youth population coming up in 2030, 2050. We know that is what is going to happen because economic development globally shifts geographically over time. You know, it used to be in Europe, Italy, England, Germany, and then it shifted to the United States. Now gradually it's shifting to China and significant part of Asia, including India. With the numbers that we see now, we don't have any choice. It's going to be Africa. You know, the youth is going to be 25% of the whole population, the youth will be an African young man or woman, and therefore we don't have any choice. But the question is, and I personally think that the driver for such an economic development on the continent will be African Americans, if they are willing to do that. They control the economy of the development of Africa, if you want to see it. But the question that I have for the family here today and also the entire community is African Americans ready to lead the charge to change the economics of Africa? If that happens, all African Americans, all black people, whether they are here in the United States or in Brazil, Argentina, or in Africa, will see a drastic change in their life.
I want to come back. What was the question? You said, are African Americans ready to leave their what?
No, to lead the challenge.
Oh, lead. Gotcha.
Yeah, to take the challenge because remember, African Americans. Look. I mean, we can talk about Africa for a long time, but if you look at the wealth and the strength of an African American in this country, they control the charge to make Africa change. That's it. Not China, not the United States itself, not England, but African American as a nation, if I can call it as a nation in the United States, they have the power to cause Africa to change. Is my position.
Do you think? Oh, so the question is, are we willing to lead the charge to make the changes in Africa? Am I saying that right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. Yes.
Wow, that's a strong, heavy question.
Hey, so let us bring on Counselor.
Did you want to answer his question, or you want Counselor?
No, I'm gonna have Robert Johnson answer that question.
Okay,
that's why I'm bringing him on because I know he's chomping at the bit to respond to that question. So let us introduce the one and only, an incredible ally, a great entrepreneur, a great attorney, just a great friend of humanity and Black people. Counselor, attorney, Robert Johnson. Robert, respond to Dr. Balfour.
Well, thank you, Larry. And first of all, before I go any further, I have to wish LaDonna a happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
And say hello to Lorenzo and Brother Dominic and Brother Balfour. I think that's a profound question in terms of should and can African Americans lead the charge? And the answers are resounding yes to both of those questions. African Americans are uniquely positioned to lead the charge, and more importantly, have to. It's an imperative, particularly given what's happening here in the United States. And it just ties in nicely with the conversation that you guys have been having with regard to our history. Africa is, as we all know, deeply ingrained in our history. We are descendants of Africa, but not only is it our history, it is really the most viable future that we have. As the brother just talked about, Africa has the fastest growing population in the world, the youngest population in the world, has the fastest growing middle class in the world, has enough natural resources to power the world for the next 3,000 years. And in addition to that, it is poised to pass, as the brother said, Asia in 2026 in terms of its economic growth. But more important than all of that is Africa and African Americans are inextricably intertwined. I mean, that's where we come from. We have a cultural fluency in Africa. And as the brother said, when we are over there, we're treated like family because it's home. And they want us to come home and help them rebuild Africa as a result of the decades and decades of colonialism that has exploited Africa, raped Africa, taken away its natural resources. Well, Africa is awakening now, and is starting to break the shackles of colonialism. It's starting to reclaim its resources, and starting to support his people in a way like we've never seen before. So it's absolutely time. Right. In fact, there's a brother named Derek Watkins Jr. A lot of people know him as I Show Speed. If you go on YouTube or Instagram, he just completed a 20-country tour of Africa. And it streamed over, I think it was like 50 million people followed this brother as he toured Africa and showed people in our country and around the world the beauty of Africa, that he was overwhelmingly accepted, loved, massive crowds followed him all over the country. He showed the technology that Africa has, busted a lot of the myths that the West tries to portray about Africa being primitive and Africa being full of savages. You know, through the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce and on my own personal travel, I've been to Africa dozens of times. And Africa is one of the most amazing places that I've ever been to in my life. And so to put a bow on all of this of what I'm saying and to tie it into what you guys have been talking about, part of our history is knowing not only where we came from, but knowing where the possibilities are for us to go. And as the brother said, we all have cell phones. We all have the ability to travel and look at and find out information for ourselves and not continue to allow folks to lie to us about not only who we are, but who we're connected to and where we come from.
Yeah. Coming from my background in investment banking, I want to give just a little bit of information to the audience. Is that IMF, which is Illinois, is the International Monetary Fund, states that of the 10 highest growth areas in the world, Africa has 6 countries that are in the top 10. Now, smart money in the investment banking field, we go where smart money goes, where the opportunity is. And what we need to do, whether Africa, say for example, Africa wasn't black, and we were just looking for the best investment opportunity, we would have to concede that where we ought to be putting our money should be in Africa, because it offers the greatest upside potential with the lowest downside risk at the same time. And so when we understand that with the natural connections that we have, it simply makes a lot of good business sense to create legacy wealth, to connect to Mother Africa, to take a look at the enormous amount of land and resources. Everybody else is there benefiting, and we're not. We're sitting on the sideline. So I'd like to have Dr. Balfour just elaborate a little bit more on why Africa to African Americans. Then I'm going to toss it back to Lorenzo and LaDonna to ask any questions they want of our 2 experts on the call to talk about Africa. We still have our good friend Dominic Clinton on the call also.
Okay. Well, for me, at this point, I'll just focus on the economics. And the economics, focus the direction only to African Americans benefited from what I'm going to talk about. So when the first time I went to Ghana with the Black Chamber, I think the finished Black Chamber of Commerce was in January 1999, I think. And we went to, I come from a gold mining town in Ghana called Obuasi. Obuasi was classified as the richest gold mining town per square mile in the world. And that is where I come from. And I took Larry and the rest of the group there. And I could see from their faces how that place can be called a gold mining town. And so, of course, what I'm trying to say is, it was mined by Lonho. It was a British company at the time, and later it became a South African company. And Obuasi is now gone as a city. The entire underground is gone. And so I was talking to Larry about this. What if, we have a group of African Americans, our brothers and sisters, come together and say, look, we are in the mining industry. We want to mine gold. Can we mine gold in our own land which is Ghana or any part of Africa? And the answer is yes. Would the government be willing and happy to give you concession to mine gold? The answer is yes. If I mine gold in Ghana, would that be beneficial to my people, even in the United States? And the answer is 100% yes. That is gold. If you go to Ghana now, the construction, all the construction, roadway construction, railway construction, building construction, they are all being done by Chinese. If African-American contractors put together a plan and go to Ghana and say, hey, let's do construction, let's do roadways, will the Ghana government work with me to secure funding from either the World Bank, the United States, IMF to provide this infrastructure for the continent, even if I don't want to live there? Would that be a business? And the answer is yes. Now, the third one I want to talk about is India is taking all the timber from Ghana. I know because I've been involved in this business for a while. India is taking all the teak. Ghana has a lot of timber, a lot of teak. India is there, and if you go to every single teak farm, the people there are Indians, and they treat the Ghanaians like crap. I mean, that is my bad language.
I'm sorry for interrupting you, but are you saying tea?
Yeah, teak, T-E-A-K. It's a wood.
Oh, teak. Okay, got it.
Yeah, teak. Yeah. And so I'm just giving a few examples. So the question I have all the time is, why can't we? I mean, I'm talking about economics here. And at times you run into complex problems of getting loans here and trying to compete in the U.S. in the same market. But there are areas that are very virgin. I remember somebody tell me Africa is virgin. Whatever you do there, and I think my brother Dr. Johnson will probably tell you that everywhere you go on the continent, there is just a lot of things you can do. But the question again comes back is, how prepared are we to take the first step? Because, and I think the reason is because, and I don't want to worry about the history, because the history has been so distorted for the black Africans and black African Americans, so that there is so much disconnection between the two groups. And so, and people still believe in that, because history is what you read. I mean, if you cannot check it out, that's it. You believe in that fact, even though it may not be. And so I want to still come back on this economic business. We need to find a way to put a group together to be able to go to any part of the continent, of course, making sure the security is there, we are fine, and our money can come back to the U.S. At least that can also come and support some of the things we want to do here to support the youth here in this country. That's my position.
Wow.
So I guess then what I would believe that we have to do moving forward is really to re-educate, the African American. And when I say re-educate, I think, because it's been marketed to us, and I believe, like Dr. Johnson said, that, Africa is primitive. And I believe, from my understanding, just the people of Africa has been, what's been marketed to them is that blacks are lazy and can't do and all these other different things. So I guess what we would have to learn here as African Americans is what type of dual citizenship we would have to be able to use whatever education that we have gotten here that we could apply in Africa, and how that could be successful to us.
I think it goes deeper than that, Lorenzo. And just to piggyback, because I know we only have 10 minutes, but I do want to just slide in and say that we have not seen Africa in a position of opportunity. We are so busy fighting for equality in a country that won't give it to us that we are not able to connect and reattach ourselves to where we actually came from, because we have these disassociative properties, if you will, that says, I'm not them. I'm not over there. I'm over here trying to get mine. And this is where my family is. But this is not necessarily where our opportunity is. It's not meant for us here in the United States. But we don't see it that way. We're still trying to fight for equality. Absolutely. I just want to reset the room. Larry, you're on the phone line now. I do see you. We do have a caller. Where do you want to go from here, Larry?
Hey, just go ahead and take the call up, Donna. I'm going to sit back, relax, and enjoy.
All right, Gene, you're live on the Wake Up Show Chicago. What you got for us?
everything, my beautiful young African queen. Two things, truth be told. Mandela was a broken old man, so boss released him. And boss told Mandela, you got to lose Winnie. She talks too much and keeps up trouble. So Mandela drops Winnie like a hot piece of coal, who stood by him all the time he was in prison and fought for his release. Second thing, until so-called Africans get the nuclear bomb and can make bombs and weapons, they are just whistling Dixie. Racism and white supremacy is real. They kill humans by the millions. They just went over there in Venezuela and slaughtered people. If Africa can't get that nuclear bomb and make weapons, game over.
Thank you, caller. All right.
He was passionate.
Very passionate.
Ready for war.
Should I suit up?
Hey, is Dominique still on by chance?
Yes. I'm here.
Hey, Dominique.
Dominique, weigh in on what we've been talking about. What's your perspective on a number of things that we've been talking about?
Well, again, it goes back to, for me, it goes back to education and the myths that we've fallen victim to, unfortunately. And the only way to come out of that is to educate ourselves and then join in partnership with our brothers and sisters on the continent. Learning about their GDP, learning about all the technologies that are over there, learning why those resources are so valuable and why there was even colonization in the first place. You don't go and take over a place that's not worth anything.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right? We see that in America. We're like, whoa, why are we buying up all these projects and all these property in the hood? Because it's valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to understand that. We need even to the point, if you look at the map even lies to us that they've chosen to use, the Mercator map. It shows that Africa is like the same size as Greenland when it's 14 times larger.
Mm-hmm.
So even from all those things, we have to take the wool off our eyes and start actually wanting and desiring to learn for ourselves. And with that desire will come that knowledge, and with that knowledge will come action that we can actually take over and do what we need to do for ourselves. So I believe first we have to become aware that we have a lot of misinformation, and then start becoming aware of the actual truth, and then sharing that and empowering ourselves, and then partnering with our brothers and sisters and in collaboration, in a collaborative spirit, and not in this, well, us versus them type mentality, because that's what's got us separated in the first place. It's where, you see one person making, like, oh, they're good. Oh, I'm good. I'm going to leave y'all behind. Nah, it's that each one teach one mentality.
All right.
We have to bring back that community is how we win.
I love it. All right, Mike, you're live on the Wake Up Show Chicago. What you got for us real quick?
Yes, I agree 100% with the recent speaker, and I want to add to that just pinpoint facts. There's a fact that burgeoning countries that have a young population, that's where the future of the community of the world is, and much production and so on. So you can't get around that regardless of what color you are, And the deal that I see or can be created is the bank of the money of this $1.5 trillion that we disposable income here in America to develop something over there in Africa as a burgeoning company, and that connection together that we become independent of the rest of these countries of the world and running our own thing by creating our own environment, our own system to be competition. Yes, we do need to protect it. So I ain't got all that together yet, but that's what the vision is.
Hey, but that's a start. That's a start. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you so much, caller. Let's move to Israel. Good morning, Israel, real quick.
I have my phone. Can you hear me, Queen?
Yes, I can, sir. You got about 20 seconds. Got it. Go ahead.
I only need 10 seconds. Brother Larry, can we get some of them Africans that's here and take them over to Africa? And I'm going to hang up and listen. You know what I'm talking about, Larry.
Wait, what does that mean? Larry, what is he talking about?
Hey, he's talking about get some of these Africans and take them over to Africa. Is about, I'm assuming that Bob is talking about the people who are already here connecting with people who are here, and then developing, I think, relationships in Africa. If I'm wrong on that, Bob can call me back and say I was wrong, but I misunderstood what he was saying.
Yeah, because he sounded like an
Yeah,
ice
yeah.
agent for a second.
And let me ask this question, before as time wind down,
Yeah.
how can we start developing relationships for those people who can't travel right now, who may want to start developing relationships? How can we start developing relationships, whether it be virtual relationships? Do we have an avenue that we're trying to put together to do that virtually?
That we already are doing that as we speak. The chamber has, and Robert and I, we have been developing at a national level a real, Dr. Robert Balfour is a part of that also, developing a real Black economic agenda with Africa to create our own trade agreements, to help reduce debt, and a number of other things. We're going to be announcing that initiative in a significant way. We're already, like I said, and last week we had Tony from Remote Work. We're beginning to even employ people from Africa, just like we employ people from the Philippines or from India. We're now taking that money and that resources and bringing talent where we're getting very talented sisters and brothers who are well educated, very competent, very professional, and they're adding to help build our infrastructure. So there's a real agenda, because if we fight for creating legacy wealth, commerce is about doing commerce, doing business. And that's really what the chamber is about. But we focus on how do we strengthen Black businesses, and what do we need to get to the next level so we can have the best things in life that life has to offer, because there's so much that we don't understand that we need to understand about economic empowerment. So I'll pause and go back to Robert Johnson or whoever is going to speak.
Actually, I need to grab this caller. Robert, did you want to go real quick, or you want me to grab this caller real quick?
No, go ahead and take the call over, Donna.
All right, popcorn style. Mary, you're up. Mary?
This is Maria.
Oh, Maria, it was just typed wrong.
Yes,
That's all.
I just wanted to say, okay, I love that James, okay? I mean, I know he gets dramatic, but he brought up a point. If you don't have Holy Spirit or something, you're going to need something stronger. How did we get here? Lorenzo brought this up. How did we get where we are in the first place, okay? You don't get no big, strong Mandinka men on the ship if you
come on.
If you got, they had guns,
yes.
Okay? We had spears. We need to look and see how we got here in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Maria. And I know Maria. Thank you so much. Larry, I want to go back to Robert Johnson real quick, because we only have 2 minutes left and we got to really wrap this thing up. What can we say in the 20 seconds that we have left in the show that will let our listeners know that we need to get on board with this mission?
Well, again, Africa is the future. As we talk about, building economic engines for wealth generation in our community, we have to look to where the market is and where it's going to be, and that's in Africa. The dollar is on the verge of economic collapse. People don't want to talk about it, but Trump has wrecked this economy. He's isolated America. People are fleeing us, and we have to develop new allies. And the best ally for the African American is the African.
Nice. Is it Dr. Baffer and Dominic? I want to thank you guys for being guests on the show, for enlightening this conversation. Larry Ivory, it's always a pleasure to do this show with you every week, every Saturday at 9 a.m. Did you want to close out, sir? I want to give you the floor. You got 20 seconds, though.
Well, hey, again, let me just thank our guests and everybody in our listening audience. We really strive to make sure that we focus on how to help our people. And that's what this is all about. Even in the great state of Illinois, there's work to be done with procurement. There's challenges. We have to unite together and push to strengthen our own economic position. And I'm glad to have so many warriors. A shout out to my good friend Wally Muhammad out there. He's a soldier, and he's always pushing and making sure he's talking about, self-discovery and how we stay focused on the issue. So nothing but love for everybody out there. Let's continue to stay focused on creating wealth, and making a difference.
All right, guys, that's
Amen.
it. I'm LaDonna Ray. You can catch me Monday through Thursday, of course, on the afternoon show. But we will see you next Wednesday. Make sure you go to ILBCC.org, hit that join button, become a member today. And we want to thank our sponsors. We're talking about Wind Creek Casino Wind Creek Casino Southland. Look, I'm still celebrating. We want to thank them for sponsoring this show. We are powered by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. Make sure you give us an email. It's info@ilbcc.org. Thank you, Dominic G. Thank you, Dr. Baffer. Thank you, attorney Robert Johnson. And thank you to our guest host, Mr. Lorenzo T. Hughes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. We are out of here until next week. Guys, same bat time, same bat channel. Bye-bye for now.
Wake up to the pulse of progress as we amplify voices, break barriers, and illuminate the path towards a more inclusive tomorrow. Follow us across the socials at The Wake Up Show Chicago. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. It's The Wake Up Show every Saturday morning at 9, where change begins with every sunrise.
Welcome to the Wake Up Show Chicago.
That's the end?
The talk of Chicago is 1690 WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.